You know what time it is? It's fucking beer time. That's what time it is. Today is Wednesday and it's halfway through the week. I'm trying to get as much done now. It's warmer out, so I didn't even have to have the furnace on that long, like 10 minutes to bring the garage up to heat. Because I'm going to be losing a full weekend coming up here soon. Because I'm going to be working because I need to put away some money, make some money to make this trip happen. And you know how that is. Fuck, you gotta sacrifice to make ends meet. Because I live by the rule of cash is king. Because if I don't have money to pay for it, I can't afford it. And that's how I live. And that's how I roll. And it's fucking beer time. So now, last week when I was all pissed off at Campar shipping and 4-wheel parts, everything's straightened out now. I got my parts. I'm still not happy. So basically what happened is when he printed off the address, it wasn't fully on there. So that's why they were unable to deliver it or unable to find it, because some idiot didn't do his job properly and didn't realize that my address wasn't completely on there. So that was a fuck up. But anyways, it took 5 days. I'm still pissed off about that. And pretty sure I'm going to be buying most of my parts from Morris 4x4 now, just because I order from them. And within a week I get it. I don't have time to be waiting. It just took a fucking month. Time is running out. Like smaller things that I'm not in a worry about, I'll order from them because I don't care. But larger things I need, and I need now, I'm going to order through Morris. Anyways, my beer's done. I got the lower control arms in. I'll see you guys quickly on the weekend. So there's my truck, and believe it or not, the fucking thing is stuck in the snow and ice. Had it melted around the tires, and the tires went in the ice, and I fucking can't get it out. I go start it up, see if I have any luck today. See that bullshit? A couple inches of fucking ice. Try that. Well, hopefully I don't have to jack up the fucking rear end too. You gotta be fucking kidding me. I just spit the boards through. Finally got the thing out, but that was fucking weak. 2 inches of ice and it was fucking stuck. Brutal. My BMW would have just fucking crawled out, and so would have the Jeep. Do you know what time it is? It's Friday beer time. That's what time it is. I'm working tomorrow, so I came out in the garage, get things prepared. Tonight I plan on jacking the truck up in the air, get the rear axle underneath the axle stands, remove the tires, the wheel spacers, remove the drums, and pull the differential cover off and start draining all the oil and get ready to start pulling the axle and everything else out. But right now it's fucking beer time. Alright, let's get to work. Alright, I know that's not gonna come off nice. Let's spray that bitch down with some PB Blaster. Fuck, it's got some spray to her. Let that sit. Hopefully I'll get into those threads so I'll be able to get that sucker off easy. Never mind. It just comes right out. So I just got the bumper set up too. I sanded it down as much as I could. Put some of that rust treatment on it to help stop it from rusting. And then put some self-etching primer on it. And then I'm going to paint it with that box liner afterwards. That'll be tomorrow, get that out of the way. So talk a little bit about bearings. You got a taper bearing here, because it's got that little bit of an angle there. That's why it's called taper bearing. These are designed for thrust, okay? So these are designed that the thrust is going to go this way. It's not going to handle thrust too good this way, because then the bearing is pulling away from the race. So it's designed to be pushed in. Now, when you have two when you have two tapered bearings on each side with the tapers on opposite ends, that cancels out the thrust on both sides. So that's the purpose of why you got to have two tapered bearings on your pinion and carrier. And then you set your preload that it's enough that you're not going to choke the bearing out, but also not too little that your bearing's going to have a little play, because if your bearing has a little bit of play, it's going to wear it out faster. You basically want to set it up the best way with the proper preload, depending on your application, of course, that the bearing is going to last the longest, because too much preload and you're going to heat it up and burn it out. Too little, like I said, you're going to wear it. So you want like the perfect amount that's going to spin, stay cool, and prolong the life. Now over time, of course, as you saw in the video, like even on the front pinion, I'm going to show you that clip here, the pinion preload, the pinion and carrier preloads at 0. Watch this clip. Mind you, this is the used bearing. There's like 2 inch-pounds of torque on that bearing to spin it. And then on the rear differential tooth, the carrier and pinion preload is at 0 in this clip. I'm moving the differential and the pinion, 0 preload, just like the front when I took it apart, 0. So you know over time the preload backs off. So ideally, myself, if you're going to set your bearing preload, I would set it more towards the higher end, because over time it's just going to wear down to 0. One way how you can look at bearing preload, make it easier to understand, this is no preload. So you can see how well that just spins. Alright, now it's going to give it that much. That's how much difference in preload. So that's how much difference just a little bit of preload does. That's probably right close where you'd want to set it up for preload, is right there. In the meantime, let's just drink some beer and don't let talking about preload and bearings and taper bearings and how they work and everything else get to your head. Because the more you start reading about it, the more you're going to start questioning yourself, and you're just going to have to roll with it. Your first test drive, you're going to know whether or not it's set up right or not. If it runs quiet, not making any noise, roll with it. I just laid down the first coat of paint, if you want to call it paint. It's the spray in box liner. I like it because it gives it a nice textured look. If you spray it away from a distance, it kind of gives it that rough feel. That's kind of the image I want. And I'm going to put on another coat, and that should take care of the finishing for that. And it'll be a nice tough coating from getting scratched on, from being stepped on, and everything else. So if you want to get your gear off without damaging it, I usually put like 4 little bolts in there. Because once these bolts have been used, they're garbage. You're not supposed to use them again. And then I just do that to tap the gear down, and boom, it's free. That way you're not hammering on it to get it off, and you might possibly damage it. Done. But what worked out really good is that the bearings on the pinion actually are the same they're on the Dana 30. So I already made setup bearings for that, so I don't have to worry about doing anything with these bearings besides pulling them off and chucking them in the garbage. My order for Morse 4x4 was shipped out on today, Saturday, and I'm expecting to have it by Wednesday of next week. Like, if I can get my parts come in I can have my differential set up. I bought new axles that are 35% stronger than stock for all you haters. I wish the Detroit True Track would have came in a 30 spline, because then I would have just got a 30 spline. Unfortunately, stuck with a 27. But once again, common sense, right? I'm not building my Jeep to hammer on it. My Jeep's going to be a daily driver and moderate off-road vehicle. Let's drink some beer. That cocksucker doesn't want to come out. There we go. There we fucking go. That's the easiest way to get her out. This is not cool at all. I went to just tighten these down, and this one snapped right out. Luckily I was able to fish it out, but these little bolts, I'm getting rid of them. I'm going to use the larger holes. I have to go get some bolts for that, because that is horse shit. This thing's kind of cooled down a bit. Trying to get an adapter, 1-inch adapter, is pretty fucking impossible, so I had to make something up, because I'm not going to struggle trying to compress the crush sleeve on the pinion again. So what I did is that it's 1 1/8 inch of the nut. The only weak point is that 1/2 inch drive. I wish I could have got this in a 3/4 inch drive, would have been better. But my torque multiplier here, which is 3-to-1, a 30 mil socket fits on there perfectly. On the back side there. See, so that with a torque wrench will make things way easier. So if I'm putting in roughly 30 pounds of torque, let's say, with the losses, I'm probably putting in about 75 to 80 pounds of torque with only cranking like 30. So that's gonna make it a hell of a lot easier. Or it could be a recipe for disaster. I pulled out my best engineer Johnny here to weld that in there with a lot of heat to fucking get it to stick, so we'll see if it's gonna work or not. So to recap some of the things I got done today, it's Sunday in the garage. I got the bearings and gear put on this. I made this sketchy tool to tighten up the pinion. I started priming underneath where the axle is. I replaced 1 seal and 1 bearing in that side. I got new brakes coming, wheel cylinder 2, gotta do that. But rear bumper has all been painted. Turned out really nice. Using the box liner coating actually turned out really nice. I like the way it has a nice textured look, like I said before, instead of a smooth look. So if you're getting the bumper back on. You know what time is? It's fucking beer time. That's what time it is. Oh, got quite a bit of things done in the garage today. Still got lots left to do, fucking lots left to do in a short amount of time. I'm gonna be super busy out here. But anyways, I'm gonna finish my fucking beer, go inside. It's almost 6 o'clock. I gotta get ready for work tomorrow. So if you have any questions or comments, post them below. Otherwise, subscribe to my channel to see the rest of this Jeep build.